Hello, welcome. My name is Nicholas or JC, and this YouTube video regards Peachtree Securities Case B for Finance 139. Question number 1 is asking us to find the nominal rate of return. This is found by taking the par value of the stock $100, timesing it by 0.0432, dividing by 48. This gives us an estimation of 9% for our nominal expected rate of return. Second question is the effective annual rate of return. It's a little bit of a different equation. We're going to take, as you can see, now that we found the equation, the EAR is equal to 0.0931. Moving on to 1B, we're trying to find the expected rate of return for the beginning of 1992, and to do so, we're going to use the Gordon's model. The Gordon's model is equal to the price of the stock equals the dividend for the next year divided by the expected rate of return minus the growth rate. First, to do that, we must set up the number of periods that we're going to use. This is done by taking 300,000, which is our starting outstanding shares, minus it by the sinking fund cost, which is 60,000. And we're going to do that 5 times. Now we're going to take the cumulative dividends, which was given to us in the problem, and multiply it times the shares outstanding to give us our interest. Now we found our interest, we're going to take this and add it to our sinking funds cost to get our total payment. Now as you see that our total payment is calculated, we can we could divide this by 1 plus our growth rate, which is 0.08, and discount it for 5 years. This gives us a total of 313,22068.08. Now to find the preferred share price, we must divide this by the number of shares outstanding, which is 300,000, giving us an answer of a value per share of $104.41. Question 2. We're also going to be using the Gordon's model. To find the required rate of return, we can manipulate the model and have K be what we're solving for. So this is, we're going to take D1, which is the dividends for next year, divided by the price per stock, and then adding it to our growth rate. As you can see, this gives us an answer of 14.8%. Question 2 is asking for our dividends for 1992, and this is 0.80, which is our dividend price, divided by the share price of the stock, which is 22.6, giving us a percentage of 8.09. Now expected gains, capital gains, is very easy. It's just equal to your growth rate, which is 6%. Question 3 is asking what was the value of the stock on January 1st, 1992? Well, first things first, we must find the dividends for the next 6 years, starting at 1992, which is $1.80. Now for 93, we take that same $1.80, timesing it by 1 plus the growth rate, which is 1.06, resulting in $1.91 per dividend. We're going to follow this process down to the 6th year, in which we get $2.59. Now to find the price in year 1992, we got to take the dividends from D5, which is 2.59, and we're going to divide it by the expected rate of return, which is 13.5%, minus by the growth rate of 7.5%. This equals 43.17. Add this to our dividends for the price, for 1992, and we get $45.58 for the current value. Now the price stock of 1992, we're just going to be discounting the cash flows, and you can see how that's done above. The dividend is stated above, divided by the expected rate of return plus 1, raised to the period's number. Same thing for 1993, we're just going to start with 1993 as our first dividend. Question 3C is again, we're going to be just doing discounting like in the previous two questions. 3D, what is the expected dividend yield, capital gains, and total return for 1992? Dividend yield is found by the dividend of the next year divided by the price of 1992. This comes out to 6.31%. Capital gains yield is equal to ending price minus beginning price divided by beginning price, and these prices are regards to the share per stock. So this is comes out to 7.20%. The total return is equal to the two previous calculated yields, summing them up, and you will get an answer of 13.5%. And this is a good sign because the stated expected rate of return is 13.5%, so that means the company's on pace. Question 3E. We're going to find the stock price in year 1997. So similar to 3A, we have to find our dividends. And once we find the dividend, we have to divide the ending dividend by the expected rate of return minus the growth rate to find our stock price. Once we find that stock price of $25.47, we're going to add the final dividend payment of 1.80 to it for an answer of $27.27. Now we have to take this and discount the dividends to find the par value, and the price of the stock comes out to 19.78. So in 3F, it states that the price of the stock in 1992 is $22.26 with an average growth rate over the past 5 years is 5%. We're going to use the Gordon's model again with manipulating for expected return. Now how I found that average growth rate is I took the growth rate over the past 5 years and summed them, divided them, found the average. Solving for the equation, we come up with a percentage of 13.58%, very on point with our expected return, so that's a good sign. Moving on, is the growth rate at 6% reasonable? I believe it is not reasonable due to the calculations above, but in the long term it might be. Now 3H, we're going to find the estimated growth rate for 1995 to 1997. The payout ratio is the amount of net income minus the dividend payments. That's how we find that ratio. It's given above. The ROE is net income over total equity. The retention ratio is how much net income you keep after paying dividends. Now to estimate the annual growth, you can see how we calculate this, and it comes out to be 5.28%. These figures could be used to develop a estimated long-term sustainable growth, but it does not support the 7.5% growth rate given in the problem, due to that the dividends are in a 0.04 decline over the past 4 years, so that would drop the growth rate to less than 5% in the next 2 years, so it does not match up to the 7.5% given. I'd like to thank you for listening to me this evening, and have a great day. Thank you.